Thank you. Okay. You know, if you all really feel this way, I can do what John Picard did a couple years ago and change my mind. This isn't a goodbye, so I just want to say a few words about my thinking and sort of why. And actually, if I have a wish for everyone in this room, it's that someday you get a chance to walk into a room like this. You'll never feel warmer, and there is no treasure, financial or otherwise, that you can have. And for me to have it happen in my hometown is extraordinary and wonderful. As I was thinking about this, there's this song lyric that was going through my head, and it was that every new beginning starts with some other beginning's end. Every new beginning starts with some other beginning's end. And for me, it goes back 20 years ago, 19 years ago to January 1st, and what we were like then. Do you remember walking down Church Street on January 1st, 1994? You would have passed the Mally's building with the side falling off it. Macy's, which had closed 6 months earlier. The Chapel Square Mall, which 2 days before I became mayor went into foreclosure. The Park Plaza that was in bankruptcy 6 months earlier. SNET 6 months later announcing they're selling the largest office building in New Haven, 300 George Street. Oh, and by the way, their headquarters too, and leaving with 3,000 employees. It was a different kind of walk than I remember now. If you had remembered Elm Haven or Q Terrace, a troubled housing authority, some of the worst places for people to live. I grew up in the East Shore, Sal's Ward, 1994. You remember the signs you would have seen in the East Shore? ESSO, East Shore Succession Organization. They wanted to separate from the city. If you thought about Yale in those days, well, they had a new and promising and then young president. It wasn't a place anyone who grew up in New Haven felt welcome to, and it was the start of something extraordinary. And if you thought about the schools, and if you had seen the schools and walked through them, they were 50 years old on average. They leaked, they were cold in the winter, and they were hot in the summer, but it didn't matter because we didn't use them in the summer anyways at the time. It was a different place. You know, someone recently said that they couldn't imagine being mayor for 20 years. And frankly, that's an observation born of failure on two counts. First, a failure of imagination, and second, a failure of expectations of all the good and decent people. I will tell you something true. There was probably a few days, but there was almost no days I didn't come into that building on Church Street and feel that if we were smart enough, if that we worked hard enough, if that we were persistent enough, that there wasn't anything we couldn't do as a community. I tell you, truly, not a day that I came into that office, and there will not be a day in the next 11 months that I don't feel that way. That when we put our head to it, not one single day. So the new beginnings began with things like living wage legislation, domestic partnership rights before anybody else, public financing of campaigns, sometimes good, sometimes not, police regulations protecting immigrant rights. It is such a close of a circle, should be for New Haven, for all of us, to see the set of principles introduced by 8 United States senators yesterday, President Obama's speech today in Las Vegas, and know that some part of that consensus began here in New Haven. To all of you. And whether it's things we've all been part of, Gateway downtown. There was no State Street rail station, no IKEA, no Pfizer. Science Park was truly empty. No one had thought of doing the Special Olympic World Games. No Festival of Arts and Ideas. No Downtown Green Special Services District. No Market New Haven. No Elm City resident card. You all own those things. We changed the face of our city. I will tell you the two best things, though. I will tell you the truth. The second best thing was in September of 2007. I got to the office about 6:15, and I looked outside those big windows, and there was a line in front of City Hall. And it started at the front door of City Hall. It went down to Elm Street, down to Orange Street. And it was residents of our city, mostly undocumented residents of our city, standing in line as people shouted at them and took their pictures and wanting to declare that they were residents of New Haven, proud of it, part of growing it. It was extraordinary to see people do that. And the second, if you ever have a bad day, go into a New Haven public school, and you will find extraordinary staff and 21,000 kids who are the best, the absolute best, who will hug you and love you and work their butts off for you. Reggie and what the Board of Ed done has been extraordinary. Graduation rates, student achievement, the cohort for New Haven Promise kids, 87% of them are going into their junior year. It is extraordinary and good. So for all of this, why now? Why do this? Now actually I wanted to do this on Thursday, and it didn't hold, but I wanted to tell you why I wanted to do it on Thursday. Thursday is 20 years to the day that at the old Colony Inn, now the Study, I announced candidacy for mayor. Some of you were here. Some of you were there. And I wanted to do it in January. Why now? A lot of it had to do with being, frankly, 57. I want to do something else, and I want to do it vigorously and for a period of time. So first of all, what this is not a politician telling you he wants to spend more time with his family. But they don't want to spend more time with me. And I'll say it this way. I'll say it this way. I never cheated family time in my time as mayor. I was never confused about what was important. So should none of you. What this was about was it was the right time in my life to make this decision. It was also the right time for this. When you run for office after serving an interminable length of time, you really don't run against opponents. You run against yourself. Trust me, everybody has an opinion, right, at this point on you, one way or the other. And 2 years ago, with the violence in the city where it was, school reform just getting off the ground, it didn't make sense to me. Now I feel better about both, as we all should. And so it made sense to do this at this time. So many of you have been so terrific the last 24 hours. It's really been amazing. So two more things. I'm not for a candidate. I'm for someone who understands what we're doing in our public schools, and I'm for someone who understands what our communities are doing about public safety. And I'm for this as well. The next guy you hire to replace me, do not hire a town manager. Hire a mayor who's going to make decisions, stand for something, be willing to be held accountable, and get something done for our people. I'm only going to mention then one other name. I met Kathy DeStefano on a bus in March of 1977 in our senior year at UConn. She started talking to me because, like now, she's nicer than I am. You should all be so lucky in your life to have a life partner like Kathy DeStefano. And if you're really lucky, she'll give you two great boys like my Dan and my Jim. So, not going anywhere yet. New Haven needs to think about what direction it wants to go in. I feel blessed, truly wonderful, and I really thank you for coming out today. This is a good, decent city. Time after time, when other places will appeal to the things that divide them, we somehow manage to stand together, see it right, and get it done. Every one of us should be proud to be a member of this city. God bless you. Thank you. Not going anywhere. Thank you for coming out. I'm done.